All right, last one. We got the last shift happening that I want to talk about. Technology. So content management system, or CMS. This is probably the tool that you're using to kind of manage your website. A CMS is really a place where you manage your content, manage your website. And so I have a question for the chat pane. I want to hear from the folks on the call. What is the most frustrating part about using your CMS? For any of you who have to manage your website, make updates to your website, let me know in the chat pane what is the most frustrating part about trying to manage your website and use your CMS. Let's see what the answers come in here. Drop in the chat pane, what are the most frustrating parts about using your CMS? If you're like most people that I talk to, and most people, I see Marie says keeping it up to date, making sure you're investing the time on doing it. Again, we talked about the rhythm. So hopefully the rhythm and the process we talked about will help. A lot of folks, Chris here says editing a page in a weird module on the side instead of editing on the page. It's really like the editing experience is kind of funky. Marija says limitations, not being able to have access to things. And that really goes to a common point that we hear a lot. And that's around kind of being constricted in your website. Now, why are you constricted? If we look at a quote from Clay Shirky, who's a professor at NYU, he says, technology doesn't get truly interesting until it almost becomes invisible. And so the more advanced the technology gets, the easier it becomes to manage. But, and we see that time and time again. If you look at the experience disruptors across industries, these kind of like clunky, hard, frustrating tools to use that we see on the left are being replaced by tools that you barely even notice exist. Things like, when I think of these voice recognition tools, I'm not going to say it because I got one next to me and it's going to activate, but these voice recognition tools, you don't even know the technology exists. But if that is the case, we have content management systems all wrong. As the business grows, it demands more out of the website. And as you demand more of the website, you have to layer more and more things in. You have to layer in forms, lead conversion, SEO tools like SSL. You have to add in developer tools, editors, like all these things start to layer up. Average website has 20 to 50 plugins if you're using an open source tool like WordPress or Joomla. And these things start to build these really, really tough, clunky built up systems. And so when we look at the shift happening in the industry, and we look at traditional CMSs, these traditional CMSs force you to spend your time, your precious time, on maintaining the system, doing plugin updates, installing plugins, managing the servers, all of these like maintenance things just to keep the lights on. And at the same time, those maintenance open the door to security risks. And so you end up spending your time protecting against hackers, bringing the website back up, paying a developer to bring different elements of the site up when it gets hacked. And so traditional CMSs, again, force you to focus on maintaining the system. Modern CMSs are built on a SaaS infrastructure. So just like this is SaaS is software as a service, for those who aren't familiar, this is the standard, as we talked about in the software industry, where all of that stuff that's talked about, maintenance, plugins, updates, security, it's just taken care of for you. You don't have to worry about it. And what that does is it frees your time and energy up. Instead of maintaining the system, you can focus on your customers. You can keep the website up to date, Marie, just like you were saying. It's so tough to do when you're just stuck maintaining the system. And so again, as we talked about in the past, my friends, the web industry, the CMS industry is living in the 90s where you have to manage it all yourself, just like the software was in the 90s. Software shifted to SaaS. Modern CMSs are built on SaaS. And again, this is just criteria for evaluating tools. This is not HubSpot specific. You look at Wix, you look at Squarespace, you look at Shopify, all built on SaaS infrastructures. Those are the CMSs that are skyrocketing in terms of taking over the modern market. Secondly, what we see is that traditional CMSs naturally create gatekeepers. Because the system is so built up and you have all these plugins, all built by different developers, right? So if you have 50 plugins, that's little 50 pieces of software that you have to kind of duct tape and glue to like communicate with each other. Those things can break, right? You make a change in one, it breaks somewhere else, and then you got to have a developer come up and change it. gatekeepers. If you want to make a change to your site and you want to make an update, you have to go to your development team and say, hey, I want to change this. Now, your development team has some other priorities. They're in some other sprint cycle. Maybe 6 weeks later, if the stars align and you do a little voodoo magic, maybe that will appear on your site. And so traditional CMSs make it very difficult for marketers to get their work done. Modern CMSs are built in a way, as Chris said, editing a page is his weird module on the side versus editing a page. You have modern CMSs are built to just empower the team to get their work done. And so this is not to say that developers are not important. Developers are extremely important, but the role of a developer has shifted in a modern CMS. The role of a developer is to set the system up, to set the UI of the system, the editing experience of the system up for the marketing team, so that the marketing team can just get the work done and not have to go to the developer in the first place, right? So they almost are like software developers where they build a layer of software on top of the CMS to make it easy for the marketers to use. That can be done by an agency, that can be done by using a template, but empowering the team. The developer also, their second new role, is to build all those really impactful things we talked about earlier, all those products, payment processing systems, membership login systems, ways to monetize on the site, advocacy program dashboards, all of these things that are more web appy type of experiences, the developer can focus on that. And the reality is that's what the developer wants to be working on. There is no developer that I've ever talked to in my 10 years that wakes up every morning thankful that they get to make plugin updates, thankful they get to change button colors. That's just not the fulfilling work for that type of a person. And so, again, modern CMSs empower your team to just get your work done so that the marketers can just own the website, own the experience, make changes very quickly, as we know in this day and age is absolutely important. Now, we talked about this one a little bit. This is a symptom of the fact that a traditional CMS lives independently from all your other systems. So you normally have your CRM over here, you have your CMS over here, you have your email over here, your automation over here, and you have all these little like disjointed Franken systems that don't speak with each other, doesn't share data. And what that causes is makes it very difficult for you as a marketer to create those personalized experiences. It creates a one-size-fits-none experience. And as we talked about, the personalized experience, the folks that are doing those personalized experiences are the ones disrupting their competitors. And so modern CMSs make it very easy to pair all that together. You bake your CRM directly in with your CMS. It gives you that data at your fingertips so that you can easily make those personalized changes to the site. And you don't need a developer to do it. Again, as we talked about, empowering your team. And so modern CMSs think a lot about that. The second symptom that we see of this disjointed system is that it's very difficult to report on the ROI of your website efforts. We talked about it's an investment, a growth investment. And the reason a lot of companies don't think about the website as a growth investment is because they have no way of showing their return on that investment. And it's because that data doesn't sync with your CRM. So in a world where you have all of this connected, you can understand the ROI of your hours you're investing in site. You know exactly what pages are generating leads, are generating revenue. And this is important because not only is it important to report to your CMO and CEO so they keep investing and funding your efforts and you can expand your team. But it's also important because, again, making informed decisions on how to prioritize your wish list is virtually impossible if you don't know what's working. So absolutely critical. Now, I would ask all of you, regardless of the tool that you're interested in, when you're evaluating, use these criteria. Luckily, at HubSpot on April 7th, we launched CMS Hub. We looked at all of these shifts happening and we built a system that enables a new process and enables the way that new technology should be done. What we tried to do is defy gravity. We tried to build, we built a system that is pulls down all the power, all the flexibility that these large enterprise systems, the Adobes, the Sitecores, all of those systems have, and bring that down, while at the same time bringing up the ease of use of these website page builders, the Wix, the Squarespace. So you get the best of both worlds. Powerful for developers, powerful for marketers, and something that will scale with your business at CMS Hub. Now we have two tiers. I'm going to get a little into the specifics here. We have two tiers, and then we're going to open up for questions. We'll have about 10 minutes for questions. We have two tiers. The first one is CMS Hub Professional. CMS Hub Professionals for fast-growing companies who are tired of being held back by clunky content management systems that require heavy maintenance and make it difficult for marketers to get their work done. There's 3 ways we make this happen. The first one is maintenance and management without the migraines. This is that whole SaaS CMS story that we talked about. It comes with a CDN. We have 99.9 uptime. We have 24-hour security monitoring. We literally have not only AI and ML detecting security issues, but then we have a team that's up 24 hours a day to restore your site so you don't have to at 2 a.m. All that goodness. There's a lot more SSL, firewall, all that stuff. Secondly, we built a system to easily build and optimize remarkable website pages. This is that empower the marketing team story, empower the developers. And so the 3 that I want to focus on for this is I want to show you flexible themes. Themes will allow you as a marketer to change the look, the feel, the styling, the branding of a website without ever having to touch code. Super, super simple, super easy to empower the marketing team. And again, this panel, this theme settings panel that you see was built by a developer. Whether it's an agency, whether you're using a pre-built theme or you have a developer and you do it custom, the developer builds the editing experience to empower the marketing team to just get their work done. Secondly, as was mentioned a little earlier by Chris, is we want to be able to see the changes we're making. So we built a drag and drop page editing experience, world-class. You see everything right in line. You can move things, change the text. You can add columns. Very, very easy to see exactly what's going on with the site. And then we didn't leave the developers out. We wanted to make sure, again, developers are absolutely critical. So we built a local development CLI or local development experience. All we need to know as marketers is that this will allow your developers to use all the editors, theming, frameworks, workflows, GitHub, all the stuff that they know and love already today. And they can just unplug their current system, plug HubSpot in and hit the ground running. So they get all the tools to keep them happy. And then lastly, again, we're more than a CMS. We're an all-in-one tool to help grow traffic and generate leads. At the end of the day, it's all about growing your business. It's not just about having a website. And so you have things like it's paired directly in with our CRM, one-on-one. It's all together. We have SEO recommendations. We have our conversational bots and live chat is baked in. We have A/B testing, contact attribution reporting to show your return on investment. All that stuff is baked directly in, no plugins required. But some of you have bigger websites. And so we built a tier for that comes with everything that we talked about, but also gives scaling organizations the opportunity to build powerful web app experiences and provides more governance over a growing team. And so again, web apps, we're talking about these more complex. This is like we're seeing the lines of what software is and what websites are blurring. It's very, very blurry these days, up to the point that even the frameworks used to build software and websites are very similar these days. A lot of people are using JavaScript for it all. At HubSpot, we allow you to build those web app experiences. Cough quick, give you all the tools required to build those powerful web app experiences. What does this look like? Well, here are some examples. Here's an example from our friends at ClassPass. They're a gym, a very, very large gym membership subscription. And what they've built for the B2B side of their business is a calculator for prospective gyms that may want to join their program to see what is their ROI on it, all built on CMS Hub. Or here's an example. This was actually built by our own product team, and we open sourced it for developers if they want to play with it. This is an event registration system where folks can register for events. They can see upcoming events, how many spots are left, and then that's all tied directly into your CRM, so you can trigger workflows and automation and personalization on the site, all based off of their interaction with this web app. But for you who have big scaling companies, you also need governance and control at scale. Now, this set of features may not be the sexiest for marketers, but it's absolutely critical for security, for IT teams to make them happy with your decision on a CMS. This will allow you to do things like content partitioning, which is basically determining who gets access to what, and the people have the access to the right things. It's activity logging, seeing like what activities are happening on the site, so you can check things and catch things. You can do more custom CDN configurations. You can use SSO. You can do site performance reporting, all sorts of things. Again, to keep that IT team, keep that security team absolutely excited about the tool that you're using. And lastly, being able to extend your brand. So we know as you're growing, especially in this day and age, more and more things are coming online. You're going to need more websites. Maybe it's a new product line or business unit. Maybe you're launching in a new region. Maybe you have an event or a podcast that you want to create a standalone site for. We make it really easy to do that by giving you unlimited subdomains, unlimited top-level country codes, and we allow you to spin up microsites very, very quickly. Here's an example of a microsite from our friends Calm. They're a meditation app. They're one of the top apps in app stores, both Android and iOS. And the B2B side of their business runs 100% on CMS Hub, and they've used that to launch that business unit for their company. Again, they did it because they wanted to be able to have their marketing team on the B2B side move quickly. Maria asked multiple languages in one site. We'll get to questions in just a second. I'll answer that one real quick. We do allow multiple languages, so you can do as many languages as you want, and it's very, very simple. That's in both Pro and Enterprise. You can do multiple language blogs, you can do multiple language landing pages, multiple language pages, and organize it very, very efficiently. All right, so Ben, our friend on the phone, he says, your website's the foundation of leads and sales online. HubSpot CMS was built to accelerate business growth using inbound and growth-driven design methodologies. So this is why you would want to choose CMS Hub for that modern process we talked about. And it's, again, developers like CMS Hub as well. This is from Marisa. She says that CMS Hub is incredibly flexible for the modern drag-and-drop editor to advanced features like HubDB and serverless functions. It provides a personalized, secure, and lightning-fast experience for visitors. And it's the right fit for growth-oriented companies. So developers love building on it as well. It's not just those two that love it. We're the leader of the pack. If you go to G2, which is kind of the Yelp for software reviews, we are #1 in 2019 and in 2020. And we have many, many companies that you've probably heard of using CMS Hub, things like Casio, World Wildlife Fund, DoorDash, Coca-Cola, Philips. And so it's trusted by a lot of folks around the world. There you have it. I'm going to wrap it up so we can get to Q&A. Those are the 3 shifts that we're seeing. I gave you hopefully some tactics you can take away for each of those. But the takeaway here are the shifts, and the shifts, the door of opportunity that each and every one of us have with those shifts that are happening. And luckily, you don't have to do this alone. You have your folks at No Bounds Digital. You have growth-driven design as a process, and you have the CMS Hub to help you make those transitions in those 3 areas. So I thank you so much for spending the last 50 minutes with us, and we're going to open it up, I think, for some Q&A.